Hey guys, morning. Okay guys, so today we have actually it was supposed to be a monitoring cost management and automation, but unfortunately this was been he has updated the dates in the wrong way. Okay,
Hello.
yeah, no, can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I was saying, let me share my screen.
hmm
Sir, my one query, can we retest the quiz questions?
Yeah, we can do that.
What option was the grayed out, I think.
Oh, okay, that one, right? I'm sorry, that I need to check with him. Yeah, so that probably I'll remind with the platform. I'll talk to them today. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
The remaining for date changing and everything, I spoke to him, but unfortunately, I forgot this quiz thing. Okay.
Okay.
So let's go with this part, but tomorrow we have to open with this link. Okay. And then we can get on this. Fine.
Okay, fine. Nice.
Because he did this wrong dating. Last time we had that date issue, right? He made one session to
hmm
13th, and then yesterday I spoke to them and got it updated, but the date has been modified in wrong way.
So today's session 17th, what is showing?
So this is hands-on lab and implementation.
Okay, it should be in last. Okay.
That should be in last.
Okay, okay. No issue. So
Okay.
it's our understanding, not issue.
Yeah.
Can do it.
So okay. So what's that first one? So how to get into the Azure CLI. Okay. So this is nothing but your Azure CLI. You can use it PowerShell.
So, general one question: whatever resources we are going to use on the portal, as
Mhm,
pay as you go. So, if we are
mhm.
creating today and we are disabling today, so there is some charge, or it will be not costing anything.
No, no, it will cost you.
It will be costing.
Yeah, yeah,
My final free credit amount is decreasing, right?
yeah, obviously.
Hmm. Okay. Thank you.
See, anything what you're if you're keeping it for 10 minutes also, uh, it will go ahead and charge you. There is nothing free meals from Azure.
Okay. Okay. Understood.
So guys, so have you heard about hub and spoke and mesh networking?
No, we didn't spoke in this training.
Okay.
Yes, mesh is a basically complex network, and hub and spoke is central versus point to point.
Right. So So in hub and spoke, what happens? This is your hub. These are your virtual machines or endpoint or whatever it might be. Okay. Consider this is an 10.1.0.24. At the same time, this is your 172 dot 16 dot 0 slash 16. Now the communication between these two networks, the machines which are sitting here, right? What will happen? These machines will communicate to your hub. If you are communicating from this virtual machine to this virtual machine, it will communicate to hub, and from there it will come to here. Okay. The same way, if it's communicating between two different networks, still it has to come to your hub, and then it has to go back, go to the next network. Okay. Only thing in this would be it's secured, but there's a to and fro, because now if you're communicating, if you say directly, it can communicate in mesh. If it can communicate directly to this virtual machine. Now in this scenario, what will happen? It will come here, then it will go back here. Again, it will come here, then it will go back here. Or else it will from here, the packet goes to here, and this will go here, and then it goes to the destination. So this is what happens in hub and spoke. Okay. And widely in the Azure, people use hub and spoke so that they can go ahead and do the different VNet pairings and have a secure communication. Clear? Guys, is it clear what it means? Yes, no?
Can you repeat again?
Okay. So this is your VM.
Okay.
So now this is a VM1. I would
Okay.
say VM H1 H11. So for the naming purpose, so
Okay.
VM1, but it's in hub 1. Okay. Now this is your VM in hub 2, but in hub 2 it's a VM1, right? So just for the naming, I'm giving this. Now if you have to communicate from this virtual machine to this virtual machine, what will happen? It will go to this traffic will go to the hub. Okay.
Yes.
This traffic will go to the hub 1. From there, it will go to the hub 2, and then it will communicate to this
Sure.
particular
Sure.
VM destination. Now, the same thing will happen when it comes from here to here. But now, if you want to communicate within the hub, within the network, still your
Using the hub.
it is going from 1 to the 2 VM. So it will go to hub, and from there only it will get terminates to destination. So
Yes.
The traffic is going all along to the hub, and from there it goes to the destination.
Destination.
In mesh, what happens? You can directly communicate from here to here based on
Yeah.
the
Correct.
switch and your firewall configurations.
An apple a day keeps the doctor away.
Clear?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Rohit, you asked the question, so is it clear for you?
Sorry, sir. Can you repeat?
No, I said, is it clear? You only asked the question, right?
No, it's clear to me, sir.
Okay, great. Fine. So this is nothing but your hub and spoke. Most of the organizations, they use hub and spoke for your
Can you
Azure.
repeat again? Spoke, how is clear, but can you
Okay.
repeat last one?
See, these VMs are nothing but the spokes.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, when the communication has to go from spoke 1 to the spoke 1 in hub 2, what will happen? The traffic goes from here to the hub 1, then it
Hmm.
gets out to the hub 2, and from there it will go to the destination. Okay.
Okay.
Now, the same thing happens when it comes from here. So spoke 1 in hub 2, from there it will come to hub 2, from there it comes to hub 1, and then the traffic goes to the destination and
Yes.
hub 1, spoke 1. Okay. Now within the hub 1, if you have the spoke 1 and 2, so if they have to communicate, the traffic, it doesn't communicate directly, it goes to the hub, and from there it goes to the destination. That's how the hub and spoke network or topology looks like.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
Okay. Now to communicate, when we are saying we have to communicate, right? We are saying it has to communicate between these two, hub 1 and hub 2. So communicate that, ideally, you need to create a pairing. So in this network and this network, the pairing has to happen. That's when the communication will happen in this network and this network. Otherwise, there would be no communication. So if you're saying you're not able to reach from this particular network to this particular network, in that case, you need to see what's the issue with the pairing, or else if the pairing is not done, you need to go ahead and do the pairing. Clear?
Yeah.
Are we doing something?
Yeah, give me a minute. Okay, so I'm just getting the installation.
Hello.
Yeah, no, I'm just
Yeah. Something. Any disturbance?
no, no, I'm trying to install the model. Give me a minute.
Okay.
We'll come to that. So now installing. Okay. So why do you need Azure monitoring, by the way? Why do you use the monitoring tools?
To check out the instance, everything is up and running fine or not.
Right. To monitor your resources, right? Whether the resources are up and running or there is an issue, what's happening with the particular resource, correct?
Yeah.
Same way, if you see, to manage your resources, there are different monitoring tools like SolarWind. You have uh, uh, Zabbix. You have Storm from Microsoft, and there are a lot of other monitoring tools. The same way, Azure has its own monitoring, Azure monitoring. Okay, Azure monitor. So what it will do, it will go ahead and monitor all your resources. It might be virtual machine, it might be your network, everything you can monitor and configure. Ideally, you might have seen in your organization when there's an alert, right? Automatically the ticket gets created. Consider there's an high utilization on the network.
CPU high utilization, memory high utilization.
Yeah, CPU, memory. So as soon as there's a high utilization, what will happen? It will go ahead and
Generate ticket and it will come to us.
yeah, so it will go ahead and create a ticket. So these alerts are being triggered. So what will happen? These alerts are triggered to your from monitoring tool to your ticketing tool. Suppose you are using a SolarWinds as a monitoring, and at the same time you are using a ServiceNow as your ticketing tool. There would be integration. As soon as this alert is triggered from SolarWinds, it will go ahead and automatically create a ticket, and it will get assigned within the queue. Okay. So same way in Azure Monitor, you can configure your alerting. So if the network utilization is at 90%, you trigger an alert. If the CPU utilization is 90% or 80%, you trigger an alert. If the disk utilization goes to the 90% or 85%, you can trigger an alert. So that what we'll do, there will be a rules you can configure on monitoring saying the first alert has to get triggered as soon as it reaches 75% threshold. Okay. The first alert, it has to trigger at 70% of the utilization. Consider you have kept alert. So what it will do, it will go ahead and send one alert. But depends how you have configured, whether it has to create a ticket or not. But it will send an alert email. Okay. Notification will be sent. Then next thing, what it will do when it is at 85%, probably, or 80%, it will send you an alert, and every 24 hours remind. So it will send a reminder. So how you are configured on your system, it matters on that. But in this way, you can configure it. Next would be as soon as it reaches 95%. Now, do you have an option? In the first alert at the 70%, at least still you had a room of 30% of resource utilization. At 85%, still you had a room, right, of 15%. But now when you are at 95%, do you have a room?
No.
Right? So what it will do at 95%, it will keep on reminding you every 15 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever the time frame you have set. So it's like a high alert and it keeps you reminding. Now, consider you have set a reminder. In this case, it was supposed to go to Satish, who was supposed to act on this particular alert. Now, till here it was sending. It sent it at 70%, it sent it to the 85%. Now at 95%, what it will do, you'll have, as per the escalation matrix, it will start sending an SMS or it will start reminding your managers as well. So how you have set up your alerting mechanism. So at 95%, it has to get escalated to a manager or manager's manager. So in that case, it will start notifying them on SMS and even your emails and everything, so that nothing has been left off, right? So that this alert has been addressed. Clear?
Very clear.
So this is how you can configure any in the monitoring. You can configure whatever you want. In sense, you can set your rules. If you want at 50% itself, because it's a critical system and it might get filled, the disk might get filled within 1 or 2 hours. So you can set up the way you want. You can go ahead and set up the criteria and configure the alerts accordingly as a utilization for specific set of machines or any devices within that subscription. Okay, that's nothing but your Azure monitoring. Now, why do you need the log analytics? We spoke about monitoring. Now, if you go to the SolarWinds or anything, they have their own database for configuring this. In sense, in database, you have all the events or the logs wherein it has captured. These are the alerts. This is what happened at this time and all that. But in Azure, use log analytics to analyze your log. Along with that, in the backend, it will go ahead and store on okay. So you're using log analytics for analyzing your monitoring logs. Along with that, you will be using in the backend logic apps to have your data stored. What you are getting from the Azure monitor and all that. Okay. And we'll go ahead and analyze using the analytics. The same thing in the dashboard. When we go to SolarWind or any other monitoring tools, what we'll have? We have a dashboard where you can go ahead and analyze or change the time frames like 24 hours or 8 hours, past 8 hours, what is happening with the particular resource or set of resource, or 24 hours or 48 hours. Based on that, you can see the logs and understand and analyze what was happening, what sort of alerts or triggers, events were triggered, right?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Now, second part of it is when you go to the cloud, what's the important factor you need to monitor? What's the important factor of and what do you need to monitor?
First things,
What is it?
license, when it's going to be getting expiring. That's a one thing. And resources as usual, CPU, monitoring, hard disk, and everything.
See that you
On
deleted. No.
and certificate, when is the certificate going to get expired?
Mm-hmm.
And
Important part in cloud to save yourself is cost.
yeah.
All resources you get it. Okay. Anyway, on all the resources you have set up the monitoring and you have the alert triggering and everything. But the important factor, what you need to monitor is or use it efficiently is cost. Right? If I do not bother about the cost, then all the resources would be powered on and left unutilized and all that, and you'll end up paying heavily for unutilized resources. Okay. Now if you see, I am saying current cost, it shows us 2,970. Okay. And on the subscription, if I go here on the subscription, I can go ahead and analyze my cost. In sense, I can go ahead and see what has been utilized, for what resource it is being utilized. Okay. If I say forecast, so this is for the OS disk, this is for the test, it's for virtual machine, it's for the OS, it's for you and your vault, it's for your IPs, public IP, right? So we are collecting restore point. So even for that collection, there's a cost in sense for your vault. Okay. If you create on that day, we tried creating one test express route, right? On that day, if you see, we created and deleted, but still for that it charged me. It was immediately we deleted, but still it charged me 1 rupees 18 paisa. So now if you're creating and deleting, that's getting charged. Okay.
Okay.
So the important factor of it, how you can monitor cost. So in the cost management, you go ahead and see, analyze your cost by resources. You can view how you want. You can download the reports. You can analyze the by cost, by resources, everything. Okay, and also you can set up the alert for cost. If it reaches, consider 3,000, I should get the alert saying it is crossing 3,000. Please take a look on that. Okay, you can configure that. Budgeting, it depends on in the organization where you have different teams like development, QA, and it might be your DevOps team, or it might be a infra team. Based on that, there would be you can set the budget allocation for those things, and you can trigger an alert based on your taggings, what you've done, whether it's for the QA team, or it's for the DevOps team, or it's for the internal infrastructure team. Okay.
Okay.
And when you go to the advice, it will go ahead and let you know which is costing more resource, or which is high payment right now. So now we created temporarily one machine in the east to west, right? So what it is saying, you go ahead and consider virtual machine reserved instance. So you can save. What will happen in the reserved instance? You are saying you will be utilizing this machine for next 1 year, or whatever the reserved period would be. So if you're doing that, you get savings of a certain amount, maybe 20% or 30%, sort of. Okay, clear?
Clear, but it's showing is 270 USD. It's supposed to be INR calculation. Once if you're having a high level, it moves to the USD or how?
See, if I'm creating a machine in a US subscription, it will show me as a US thing.
Okay.
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 So SLS, guys, Microsoft has of 99.95. What does that mean?
Service level agreements to the client, and they're giving an options for their resource will be held in, or 99.92% the resource will be available.
Okay. And when we talk about the virtual machines, what they say is 99.999. Okay. But overall, if you see, the SLA would be 99.95. In sense, any services going down in your subscription, consider there's outage from the Microsoft, it might be a thing. Still, in a year, you can, they have a room of 0.5%. You're kept in a availability set, you're kept in availability zone, you're kept in a zone geographical replication. Still, they cannot eligible for the penalty or something like that, because still you have a 0.05% of a room for them to keep the services down. Okay, so those are nothing but SLS, because any infra within your organization or any provider, you cannot keep the infrastructure up and running 100%. There might be some issue which might cause or bring down the environment unknowingly. Okay, for any issue, it might be like you have a internet services, someone like consider you have a fiber line. Okay, and if you see in Bangalore, at least Act and Geo is very good when they talk about the connection, but at the same time, Our Bangalore BBMP is also really good in digging the roads very often. Okay. In that case, what will happen if they go ahead and dig and cut the cable? Is it the provider's fault?
No.
What will happen? Your services are done, right? But still your services are done. So he has a room for that 0.05% wherein to bring up the services. But other time, if you see, it works absolutely fine as long as the road digging, it doesn't happen, right? So that's how it is. So you have a SLS wherein your agreement has been kept saying this is how you will get the services and the contract. Clear?
Yeah.
So uptime guarantees, as we said, it's overall the virtual machines and some of the resources they say 5 nines. That's nothing but 99.999. Okay. And overall services they say 99.995. Okay. So still, okay. For Azure monitoring, what we said, you have the Azure monitoring and you can use the logic apps to get the data or the alerts triggered and then use the log analytics to create a dashboard or analyze the existing logs, right? Okay, to automating, see, you want to automate something, consider so particular alert is being triggered and you want to reset the counter or you want to create a ticket automatically to the particular team. So what you're doing, you're creating that flow or you're creating that the process in your monitoring tool or anything which will go ahead and according to that it will go ahead and create. Now when we say we want the email to be triggered at 75%, 85%, what we're doing, we are adding it right in the monitoring tool. What we're saying, after 75%, still it will go ahead and remind you along with the at 85% it will remind your manager, but 95% what it will do, it will go ahead and remind you, your manager, your manager's manager, and probably much more higher authority. So all that flow, right? What you do, you go ahead and create in the process or automation workflow. Now consider okay. Now consider there's a request. You have a new joiner in your team. Okay, what will happen? How the process works there when there's a new joiner in your team? There's any new joiner coming to your team, what happens? How the process works?
through HRMS, we are getting a joining notification. Then access management team is creating IDs and we are allocating resources to them.
Okay. When HR is creating the request saying this Rohit would be joining Anoop's team, what will happen? The notification is going to Anup, and also there would be a ticket which gets created to Satish's team saying, guys, create an account for Rohit, and at the same time, there would be one more ticket which goes to sub ticket for the approval from Anup saying, okay, this is your new team member, and he for him to procure a laptop or whatever it might be, approve the request. So that's when all these approvals go in hand in sense. So only one ticket is being created, but at the same time, there are multiple sub tickets get created. Along with that, they have their special approval process. It goes through all the approval processes. Then it gets moved to the respective team for, or the cost is being moved to the respective cost center. Right?
Yes, absolutely.
So same thing, whatever we are saying, talking about this alerting and all that, triggering and all that, sending email or SMS, all that can be automated using logic apps to assign the task as per the process you define. Okay. And according to that, you can go ahead and create an alert or a notification. Who all should be receiving an email as part of the notification, or who has, all has to be notified. Now if you are saying a new joiner is there, okay, now there might be some teams might just need to be notified, okay, this guy would be coming in as a new team member, like facility admin team, or it might be a reception. They might they might receptionists, they might have to be notified. It's not like they should be notified only, so they are aware. Okay, new joiners, this is the list of the new joiners, so these are the new members who are coming or approaching to the reception for joining today. So those things are being, you can define, and according to that the email triggering and everything happens. Clear?
Yeah.
So on implementing backup and disaster recovery, last session, if you do remember, we went ahead and created a backup and we tried restoring the backup as well, right?
Yes.
And also what we did, we created a disaster recovery instance. We created a replication to the secondary region wherein the VM was replicated, and we tried failing failing over the VM so that it moved to the second region. Then we tried initiating the replication back from the secondary to the primary region, right?
Yeah.
So any doubts on backup or disaster recovery?
Could you repeat our logics app?
Sure. See, logic apps are used for what? So this is used to create a workflow. In sense, you are trying to build the workflow, or you're trying to build your flow, how the process has to be. Now, what we said, at 70%, it has to trigger an email. The first, what it do, it will go ahead and just trigger an email to the ticketing system. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, second, what we said, in 85%, not only the email has to be triggered, at the same point of time, it has to go ahead and escalate. In sense, send a one notification to your manager. Okay.
Okay.
Now, still 70% and 85%, we have a room. Still, there is not. It's not going to impact your production at any cost. Okay, because we have a room till of 15% or 25, 30% of resources where you can go ahead and take a look or do the things. But when it reaches 95%, what will happen?
It will impact.
It's not impacting, but it's at the edge of critical state, wherein if it gets filled, consider you have only 1 GB of a disk, OS disk available, right? So if you're saying, or 5 GB of OS disk available out of 100 GB, 95%, right? So in that case, any profile, someone tries to download one ISO, it's filled, right? Once it reaches 100%, you're completely gone. So what it will do, it will start triggering an alert or notification every 5 minutes saying, okay, Rahul, I notified Rahul, now we are at critical state. Who is Rahul's manager? Anup. We notified Anup also. Even he is least bothered about this alert. Now what it will do, it will go ahead and trigger an alert and notification, a high priority, along with SMS, email, it might be all modes, whatever it possible. Okay, even a call notification to Satish now, because he is your boss or a IT head or a business unit head. So it goes to him. That way you can trigger this process. Okay, and you can create a workflow. How the things should be moved in.
Okay.
Clear?
Got it. Yeah. Clear. Clear. Thanks.
Any doubts, guys?
No.
Are you clear on the service level agreement?
Yes.
And cost management, how you can see the cost management and pricing models. Pricing models already, when we were creating the VM or resource, we saw each model or each resource, how much it costs. You can compare based on the size, based on the uh, resources you're using, right? So you can compare on that. Clear on that part?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like other monitoring tools, Azure has its own called as Azure Monitor, wherein you go ahead and install the agent or push the agent or do configure. It will go ahead and automatically start looking into it. And whatever the workflow you're creating, that is in the backend used created by Logic Apps, and at the end of the day, this is being stored at your storage accounts and all, and that logs are being analyzed by using log analytics for to see how the performance is being, how the graphs are being, and all that. Okay. Any doubts so far, guys?
No.
Okay. So for hands-on, guys, let me know what all things you need on the hands-on. So according to that, I'll get the lab set up for you. The ideal topics are covered is your virtual machine deploying. We have already done that. Your network security group deployment. We have done that. And the VPN gateway. I need to come back on that. Okay, there was an issue when we tried creating the VPN gateway with the IP subnet. Okay, creating a storage account. Yeah, that can be. We can go through that. Role-based access. We'll go through that. Okay, setting up the Azure monitoring and alerts. We'll go through that. How to set up, how to create the Azure monitoring, and all that. Okay. Apart from this, do you need any specific hands-on? What you're looking for?
Load balancing is will be possible.
Okay, let me try to set up. See, load balancing can be done. Okay, but at the same time, I need to see whether I can deploy any application architecture one. Okay, if that's the case, then probably I'll try to do that. But
Yeah.
we can deploy like maybe a traffic manager. So we can deploy front doors and all and see how it works. Probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Anything else, guys?
Can
No.
you guide something about pacemaker and data keeper installation? So,
Sorry,
with
Anand, could you repeat once?
data keeper or pacemaker, can you give some brief apart from this? If
Okay.
you have enough time, then it's depend
Okay.
on you.
Fine. Data keeper, right?
Yeah.
Let me make a note of that. Data keeper and what was the other one? Huh?
Pacemaker, HANA pacemaker like that. So during the DR, we installed that one. High availability system. Sorry, high availability system
Okay.
we installed finally.
Okay. Got it. So I'll go through the your SAP. Okay, and probably how it looks and how it works. I can
Mm-hmm.
relate here because the problem would be so now with the HANA,
Mm-hmm.
it's on their cloud model. Okay, and
Yes.
as long as I am not a SAP administrator, I would not have access to the SAP environment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and apart from that, there's a partial part of it which in like being given to the infra standpoint, wherein they look into it. Okay, but let me
Mm-hmm.
see that and I'll update
Okay.
you. Okay, but I'll try to cover whatever possible on that. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. And so I had requested to you for the AZ102. It is a basis SAP related course. I have
Okay.
checked on the Edioda, but it was not there. So is it possible to it in future any batch will be launched a lot? So
I need
I
to check on now. AZ102, right? I'll check with
uh,
ADODA coordinator. Okay,
mhm,
and I'll ask them to update that information.
mhm.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other things? Okay, the other part what I wanted to is your test, right? Retake of test. Okay, other part which I need to get
Any
it.
any sample application can we deploy on that Azure? How we can
Yeah,
do
that's what
that?
as I said, right, Rahul, for load balancing. Let me see if I can bring in any small deployment of application and see on that. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Also, if you can use Key Vault in that, and also set one alert, oh, if that application is down, so
Yeah.
that part also.
So see, alert we can try with the virtual machine as well. That's not the problem. Yeah, key vault. Obviously, when you're setting up the application, yeah, the key vault will take care. It will be their part of, because you will have the managed identities, system managed identities, and that has to rotate the keys and everything automatically. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else, guys? If there's nothing, I'll give the time back today for this. Okay. And tomorrow, probably based on the lab and how much time it takes, we might need to stretch out. But yeah, so today's these are small topics, but
Because we are using here, Azure is configured with the VeraCrypt,
sorry.
the supported VeraCrypt. Again, that is also a different kind of on a disk encryptions within a VeraCrypt is using like same like password kind of a stuff. Because we face one kind of an issue when you're doing the DR setup. You
Mm-hmm.
usually have an, a VeraScript manager one particular server first that has to be come back to the disaster, and
Mm-hmm.
then only rest of other servers which is having a mounted through that particular rest of other disks, and the VeraCrypt manager is right now working. Then only it will allow the rest of other disks to be come up in online. Like kind of a setup and all, it is over here or
I need
it's
to check
too
that. See,
okay.
the encryption ideally when you're encrypting and as I said, like VeraScript, so you are configured the failure policy wherein, okay, your first system has to come in VeraScript, and then it will go ahead and authenticate with all the it will
Rest
go
of
ahead
others.
and bring upon your
Okay.
uh, keys for your encrypted data, and that's when
Yeah.
it will go ahead and start coming online, because it has to go
Yes.
ahead and revalidate. Okay,
Revalidate with it.
security the encryption key is valid,
Yeah.
right? So that's where
Yes.
it comes in. It depends on how you create your failover policies, or consider you have a set of applications. Okay, now you have 10 applications and two database servers. Okay,
Mm.
so in that case, how you define your policy, consider you want to bring in your database server first, then you can set up that policy saying, okay, database server has to come first. Once the first database server comes in, then it is aligning with other two applications with that. Okay, that has to come in. Then there will be something called as a central management system, which will be taking care of all these applications. You can bring in that, and then you bring in the next database and other applications, so that all
Okay.
policy or the steps can be defined as part of your failure policy.
Okay.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I need to check on that VeraScript. Let me see that. Okay,
Okay. Sure. Thank you.
yeah, and I'll update you on that.
Thank you.
Any other things?
Uh, have you checked with that practice section assignment?
Sorry.
Practice assignment has been an option enabled in the portal now.
Yeah, yeah. So that is that I have spoken, Jivan. So I spoke on that. What is that link which has been enabled in the portal? So they said it's optional. If you want to go ahead and create and submit, you can submit it. Okay, it's up to
Okay.
you. So
Okay.
the
It's option only.
yeah, it's optional. But
Okay.
see, it's all you do on your own space. Even the quiz, you can do it on your own space. But for what is that? Retake, I need to check with them to enable that. I'm not sure how it works on their platform, so I'll talk to that on Eduda.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So are we good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So then we'll connect tomorrow. I have the action item to check the data keeper, HANA Peacemaker, and AZ102. Importantly, retake of tests and Vara script. And remaining application and load balance deployment will try some application deployment. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
See you. Bye bye.